Hey guys, how you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, your tarot blogger, deck and book reviewer, and maker of these awesome videos on YouTube. I'm also a tarot card reader and mentor, and an author of this awesome book on tarot, which is available on Amazon, both paperback and Kindle, all over the world. Now, all of these links and more are in the description, so do check that out. And at the end of this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more such awesome tarot videos. So, welcome to today's webinar where I'm talking about romance in the tarot cards. We are going to look at the different cards in our tarot deck that specifically talk about relationships and its different phases. And then we're going to do this really special spread that I came up with. So I'm going to go into the presentation mode. Hang on. Here we are. 1 second, here we go. And let me open my PowerPoint. Can you see?
It's on the smaller screen. Is there any way you can move me or should I do it? Move you over?
Hang on. It should be in the... Yeah, you should see it, I think, in the smaller screen. You can make it big screen, full screen.
Okay. I did that.
Okay, hang on. Now can you see?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back to the first slide. Okay. So, romance in the tarot cards. This uh, actually, if you go and see on my YouTube channel, I already have a little video on there which has a bunch of the content which is already there in this particular PPT, but then I've added more. So don't worry, it's not like I'm going to repeat that same video over here. So today, as I said, we're going to look at the romance in the tarot cards, the romantic cards or relationship related cards in the tarot, because Valentine's Day is coming. So
Right.
and before we go ahead, just a little bit about me, because it's protocol. My name is Madhvi, and I'm a professional tarot card reader and mentor. And I've been reading tarot cards for nearly 15 years now, and Lenormand cards also since the past 4 years. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And on Amazon, you can find my book, Tarot Reading Using Storytelling Techniques. It's available in paperback and Kindle versions. In that book, I discuss my card story technique and reading story technique, which basically gets into how you can look into the cards and find their stories and use those to build and create beautiful and seamless and cohesive readings for the people that you read for. All right, so before we begin, well, it's just you and me, Tori, so, well, we can keep chatting whenever we feel like, right?
Right.
Okay, and let's have fun. So we will learn, as I said, we'll talk about the cards that talk about romance and relationships, and we'll look at very quickly, we'll look at the meanings and interpretations of those cards. But then there's something very interesting I want to talk about, which is the patterns. And we're going to get in depth with the Lovers card. 1 second, I think maybe Shagun might be joining in. I guess not. I heard the noise, so hee hee. There you go. All right, so and I have created this very special relationship spread. So we're gonna look into that, and I hope you like that spread, Tori, because it's kind of in the same way. I was one of the things that I was talking about in our understanding spreads workshop. Remember, inspired by
Yeah.
the Lovers card. So I hope you like that spread. I just created it. Okay, so let's get going. Major Arcana. Of course, the very first card we're going to look at is the Lovers card. This is all about lovers and relationships. You see here, you have a couple. The symbolism is of Adam and Eve. But essentially, it represents a couple, it represents relationships, it represents harmonious connections. So this isn't just about a romantic relationship, although it is most of the time, but sometimes it can just talk about a very harmonious relationship as well. It can talk about a very powerful attraction, and it can also talk about long term relationships. Okay, so depending on how it shows up in your spread, this will be potentially, especially if you're doing romance and relationship related spreads, this card means all these things. And of course, when it shows up reversed, you can say, okay, so they're going to break up, or this is a very purely sexual relationship, there's nothing emotional there, or there's maybe a disharmonious sort of connection between them, or oh, there's a sexually codependent relationship, or occasionally it can talk about those, very short term situations like one night stands. That is also your lover's reverse sometimes. But then you see in the devil card, these the same couple shows up in the devil card, but now they've both sort of developed horns, and they have chains around their neck, and one of them had the lady has a tail with a bunch of grapes on it, and the guy has a tail with fire sort of on it. So it is again very, very interesting that the people from the lovers card find themselves caught in the devil card. And the devil card means many things, but in the context of relationships, it can talk about someone like a couple that is bound in a relationship or tied to each other in some way. Uh, those could be materialistic bonds also, like maybe they are financially dependent on each other, or it can simply talk about a relationship where they are kind of addicted to each other, or addicted to being in a relationship, right? That also happens. People are just like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. They don't care what else happens there, they just want to be in a relationship. Occasionally because of the whole chains and whatnot, it does have little shades, 50 shades of gray vibe to it. and then you can also see a relationship that is full of the negative patterns that you see in relationships. We all have them. We all have negative patterns in relationships. And when you see this card showing up, especially in the context of relationships, you can be sure that this is what it's talking about on occasion, that this relationship has a lot of negative patterns showing up. So now, in this scenario, the reverse devil card can be quite a blessing. You can be free from such a relationship. Now the chains are falling off, right? You can release yourself from those materialistic bonds that are holding you within the relationship. You can free yourself from this addiction that you have to each other. uh, Not so much hardcore 50 shades in there. And it can talk about also breaking away from those negative relationship patterns. So in this case, reverse devil card is actually a little better than the upright one. mm, Next up, oh yeah, the tower. Now this is an interesting card from a relationship point of view, because here again we see a couple and they're being thrown out of that tower onto rocks or whatever it is below. We don't see that really. And it can talk about a breakup that comes on very suddenly, just like the whole tower vibe. Everything happens all of a sudden, right, out of nowhere. So it can talk about a breakup where out of a sudden there's a breakup, or there is a breakdown of the core structure of the relationship. Like the tower represents the structures that we build in our life. And so when the tower is struck by the lightning bolt, it breaks it down. So the core structure of that relationship breaks down. Alternatively, right, I mean, I know it's not a positive thing, but it can also represent that both people in the relationship, they go through some kind of very painful tragedy together, or a very sudden change, they go through it together, right? So this is the only sort of slightly positive angle to it, that they're going through it together. They're together, they're not breaking up. But the tower reversed, you can say that the breakup was averted, or I'm occasionally see the that I mean, I've written breakup averted, but occasionally what I see is that this is not a very sudden situation. You manage it, right? uh you have some idea what's coming up, so you try to control it as best as you can. You manage to reduce the impact of it, and here you go, managed or gradual breakdown of the core structure of that relationship.
I
uh,
always say it's somebody kind of sweeping things under the rug and
ah
ignoring things. And they may just ignore what they see.
oh yeah, I like that, I like that. That's a very interesting perspective, because yes, I agree. You're ignoring it, you're sweeping it under the rug. Wow, thank you. And this last one, going through a hardship or tragedy or sudden change, but apart from one another. So that's your tower. So let's go from the major arcana to the minor arcana. Ah, Four of Wands. This is a happy card, right? Now you see the couple, they're welcoming you to their marriage party, or whatever. If it's not a marriage party, then it's something they're celebrating, and they're inviting you. This is also the card of a happy marriage or a happy relationship, right? So this is a good card. From a relationship point of view, nice. It's like your marriage is a celebration of your love and harmony and passion and that sort of thing. Because wands are passion, right? But the reverse four of wands, it means, it can mean that a celebration has gone sour, and or the party is delayed, but it can also talk about issues in the marriage. There's no harmony, right? It's unhappy, and on occasion it can talk about a breakup or a divorce. Okay. This one's classic. We all know this one, the Three of Swords, right? Heartbreak, pain, and suffering. The betrayal, the cheating, the love triangle, the third person in the relationship. Come on, you don't need me to tell you all that. This image,
Wow.
this image is sort of it tells the story on its own, right? Painful, but in the reverse, it's slightly better. You're dealing with it, right? You're recovering from your betrayal and your pain, and you're resolving the whole love triangle situation, or you're discovering or removing the third person in that relationship. It's tough going, but you're dealing with it. Hmm? Ah, we all like this one too, right?
I
Meet
love
cute.
that one.
Girl meets boy, boy meets girl. So again, this one is a very interesting card. It can talk about love at first sight, or a very first date, and you're connecting kind of vibe. This can also talk about a very good friendship. So you have to really see what you feel like intuitively when you pull this card. What is the big vibe you're picking up on? Hmm? There's definitely a beautiful emotional bond there, which could translate into the strong sexual attraction. See that little lion there? Yeah, that's the passion, right? And very occasionally it can talk about moving in together. If you look at the house in the background, they're going to move in together. See, traditionally, the hand fasting ritual that happens, this card actually shows that ritual where a couple sort of promise to be together for, you know, till they figure it out. So that's a very interesting thing. The Two of Cups reversed. So it can talk about a disconnect, or a long distance relationship, right? It can talk about breaking up, also moving apart, moving. It can talk about two people who are in love and living away from each other, like in the long distance relationship. But it can talk about two people who are growing apart as well, and then moving out. Hmm. But definitely, what is happening here is the emotional disconnect is growing. Six of Cups. See, I see this card show up in readings, especially relationship readings, where people are so caught up with the past, right?
Right.
they, like for instance, you're caught up with an ex and you are thinking about him or her, and you're not moving on. You're still in the past. You know you have, you're literally one foot in the past and you're trying to figure out the future. You can't. So it can talk about a wave of nostalgia that comes and goes, but it can talk about situations where you're just not able to let go of the past, and you constantly want to sort of go back to the ex. These are the situations where they want the ex to come back to them, or they want the ex and them to get back together. And very rare occasion, this card will talk about reconnecting with old friends. Okay, very rare occasion, but yeah, but mostly it's about when will my ex come back and when will we reconnect and get back together. Sometimes it's not a good idea. Okay. So Six of Cups reversed. I like when this card comes up reversed because that means you're coming out of that nostalgia about the past kind of thing. You're dealing with it, you're moving out of that whole phase. You're moving away from the ex and your desire to be with him or her. And so it's good. It's good. This is good in a way. Eight of Cups. Ah, you know this card. Yeah, you're just basically walking away from all the good and bad memories and feelings and emotions. You're putting an emotional distance between yourself and everything that's going on, leaving the past behind and sort of detaching. This can talk about wanting to take a break or completely breaking up. Alternatively, this can also talk about sort of moving away. So it's a tough one, this one. But in the reverse, the situation is a little tricky because this person wants to go out of this situation. He wants to move away, he wants to walk away, he wants to detach, but for one reason or the other, either he's unable or unwilling to do that. Okay, the fact that this card has come up is an indication that this person wants to move away, but reverse means that he's either not willing or he's not able to do that, which is why he's not moving away or detaching. So this one, it's an indication somewhere that hey, watch out. Ten of Cups. This is the other marriage card, right? You have Four of Wands, then you have Ten of Cups. This is the we are happily married. Look at our beautiful world. The way they are standing there with their hands outstretched. Like, look at this beautiful world we made. So it's beautiful, and the cups in the rainbow and everything. So it's a happy marriage, a happy family. They're definitely emotionally very sort of connected with each other. Being cups and all. But the reverse Ten of Cups can talk about an unhappy marriage. It can talk about hurdles also in the marriage. It can talk about unhappy family life and an emotional disconnect. Hmm. Five of Pentacles. Now you must be wondering how come this card is showing up in the relationship spread. But look at this. This is a very classic, very interesting card for relationships. Yes, this card is about financial hardship, but look, these two are still together, right? Actually, this is something I hadn't noticed. One of my students brought it to my notice, so I must say this is interesting. That she said that hey, look, yes, they're going through hardship, but they're going through it together. So this is a very unique kind of a relationship. It could be friendship, it could be more than that, but they're together no matter how hard the times become. And this is a card where you can really discover who your true friends are when you're going through a tough time. Hmm?
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. That's a very optimistic way of seeing it. I like it.
That's true. But when this card is reversed, right, we all want to see this card reversed in the most for the most part. But from a relationship point of view, this card talks about how uh, you know Maybe they after the hardships are over, they will part ways, maybe, or maybe because of the hardships they have parted ways, and that sort of thing. Alternatively, the nice sort of interpretation is that they are together, they are finding a way out of those hard times. That's the only nicest interpretation relationship wise for this card reversed. And then, of course, the Ten of Pentacles. This is also a happy marriage, happy family card. But, they also have financially, they are also, in a good place. Compared to, say, the Ten of Cups, where emotionally all they were in a good place. Here, they're also having a lot of financial, abundance, along with everything else. But the reverse, it can talk about a discord within the family. It could be money related, it could be other things related, that sort of thing. So, in a reading, your intuition is paramount. I keep saying that a lot. So, you're like, oh, there are so many meanings. So, which meaning applies? The meaning that intuitively comes to you. So, how do you know which one it is? Literally, and I keep saying that this is what my teacher taught me, and it works. So when you open the card in your spread, and what is the first thing that comes to your mind, what is the first feeling that you pick up on, that is your intuition. Go with it. It will not be wrong, I promise you. Okay, and that is paramount. So be sure that when you're using these cards doing a relationship reading, listen to your intuition. It will guide you in the right direction. Okay, and I've made an interesting observation, and these are the cards we saw. So I'm going to talk about some very interesting patterns here. All right. So these are the cards we saw right now in our presentation. And as I'm sure you must have noticed, there are three cards from the majors, and these rest are from the minors. You see one card from the swords and one card from the wands, and then you see two cards from the pentacles, but four of them are from the suit of cups. That's emotions and feelings, right?
Right.
What other patterns do you notice? Do you see any repeating numbers, perhaps?
Um,
Sorry.
Let me see. Okay, so the lover and the devil are both sixes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's another six, the Six of Cups.
Oh, this.
Good,
Oh,
good
yes,
observation,
yes.
yes.
And I know six can be about harmony.
Hmm,
I see the tens on the bottom
right.
and the tower. Um, yes. So I see
Hmm.
the tens.
So, more or less, the numbers that are sort of being repeated are your lovers, the sixes, and the tens,
Right.
which is pretty interesting because, like you said, six is about harmony, and ten is the number of change, right? It's interesting that harmony and change they go together like that.
Or just coming full circle with the tens.
Hmm.
That full circle, um, not completion, but just that full circle being complete, feeling whole.
Yep. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Another thing that I noticed was pretty much all the numbers are in here except you don't have an ace, but you have a 2, you have a 3, you have a 4, you have a 5, you have 6, you have a 7 with the tower, you have an 8, and you don't have a 9, and you have tens. So 1 and 9 are the two numbers that are just not here in this whole list. I don't know what that means, but it's something to think about though. This is just so random. I was just, putting the cards together. I'm like, huh, look at how many cards showed up. So I'm like, okay, let's see if we can see any patterns. But another thing is that if you look at the 10 as a 1 and a 0, you will see a 1 showing up in there as well. If you look at the 10 as 1 0, then in that case, the only number that hasn't shown up over here is a 9. Hmm? I wonder what
Right.
that means. Wonder what that means.
Well, I always nine. I don't know. It's more of a independent card
Hmm.
because they always associate nine with like the hermit,
Ah,
and the hermit is always doing things independently by themselves.
true. And he's always solitary. So
Right.
maybe, oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's something to think about. It's something to chew on when you're just, sitting there looking, just wondering, if some insight does strike you, just, write to me. Let me know. Okay? It will be interesting to see what you all think. Hmm?
Right. But that's mine. I feel like it's more of a more independent, solitary type of number.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
the nines is always defending, like the nine of wands, kind of defending by themselves. The hermit being by themselves. Even the nine of pentacles.
Oh, yeah. She's
Have
also
a
by
woman
herself. Yeah.
alone enjoying her life,
True, true, true.
her garden. Well,
Even the Nine of Cups, he's happy with all those cups and he's like contented. Oh, yeah.
hmm
Oh, yeah. The nines are solitary, aren't they? They don't need others.
right.
It's interesting. Sometimes, by their very absence, certain things become prominent in the spread or in this whole collection of cards that we have here. Hmm. Okay. So, let's look at the Lovers card. Here are the two Lovers cards that I want us to look at today. On the left, you'll see the Marseille Tarot deck, the Lovers card from the Marseille Tarot. On the right, you'll see the Lovers card from the Universal Weight Tarot. And there's such a big difference. There's such a big difference. First of all, the Marseille Tarot was prominently there in the 14th century, and the Universal Weight Tarot showed up in the 19th century. So, I mean, not the universal weight. This is the Rider Waite, but the image is the same. So the Rider Waite showed up in 1910. Marseille Tarot was there in 1400 something. So it's like 500 years later, I think. Right? And such a huge difference, especially with the imagery. Uh, the imagery of the Lover's card in the Marseille Tarot shows a young man standing there, and he's surrounded by two women. On the left, we see a woman who is maybe a little bit older. It could be his mother, and on the right is a younger woman, and then we have Cupid flying about, in front of the sun up there, and he's ready to sort of shoot his arrow. So what is implied in this image is that he has to now choose. The Lovers is a very interesting card because it also talks about in the journey of the fool, right? When the fool comes, takes that leap from the cliff, he meets the magician and the high priestess, encountering the male and female archetype. He moves then to the empress and the emperor, which is the mother and father archetype. The next one is the society archetype, which he encounters in the Hierophant. And then the Lover's card is the place where he faces a sort of a sexual awakening. He becomes aware, hey, I'm a man or I'm a woman or something like that. This is sort of, you can equate that with our teenage, right? This is also the age where we want to be, we have that whole teenage rebellion. We want to be taken seriously. We want to be considered as adults, although we are maybe not legally or whatever adults yet. But we want people to see us as people, for ourselves. We want the whole world to sort of, treat us more like individuals than, just part of of a group like that. And that is, how do you say, on the growing person's sort of timeline. This is also the time when we awaken to our own sexuality. And this is why this card is important, because here the Lover's card shows that, this is also the time where this dude has to choose whether to remain bound to his mother, or to move out of that motherly protection and to explore a life with his new sort of partner, the girlfriend or whatever. And so with Cupid up there, love is in the air and whatnot. So here is where the whole meaning of choices or choosing comes from. So if this young man chose to go, just remain connected with his mom, he's gonna forfeit that beautiful lady. And but he has to, if he has to grow as an individual, if he has to start his own journey, which he will in the Chariot card after this, right? He has to move away from the mother's protection and start his own life. So that is the image from the Marseille Tarot. But then, 500 years later, the image that becomes more interesting, sort of more out there, is we have the whole Adam and Eve story happening. But if you remember the Bible story, Adam and Eve, when they ate from that tree, the apple, because we have that tree behind Eve, complete with snake and everything. So when she ate the apple and she gave it to Adam, and ultimately, in the Bible story, God realized that they had done that mainly because they were feeling guilty about what they did. He banished them from Eden. But here, Wait has shown a very different vision, a different version of that story. Here, Wait wanted to show, what if both Adam and Eve didn't feel guilty for having eaten the apple, and they were like, okay, so we ate it, so now we know, but we still are, pure in our hearts. That's the whole nudity thing. They don't have anything to hide. In the Bible story, they immediately covered themselves. But here they still have nothing to hide. So they didn't feel guilty about it. They didn't feel bad for having done that. They felt more open, more enlightened. And now, therefore, Wait has presented an alternative image of what would have happened had Adam and Eve not felt guilty. They would have been blessed by the angel. And that is the figure we see here in the Lover's card. So imagine this, or think about this. This is again something I want you to think about and chew on. Like with the tarot, what happens is, knowledge sort of percolates from within. 500 years have made such a big difference to the way we see things. The Lover's card in that comes in from the 1400s versus the Lover's card that shows up in the 1900s, there's been a lot of difference. Now, if you want to sort of juxtapose that with the history or sequence of events, things, what was happening in Europe and the Western world at the time, that would be interesting to sort of notice as well, that people's thinking patterns changed. What was important in 1400 versus what became important in the 1900, that changed, right? It's an interesting thing to observe how, and because I personally feel that the cards we see, or the cards we draw, that the artists are drawing, they are drawing upon the imagery that they are perceiving from the world. So when we, see people, or rather when we see the cards, and we also see them within the context of time, when especially historically when we are observing the cards, there's a lot that we can see about how the world has changed. So in the 1400s, the world was all about family and stuff like that, but here in the 1900s, it became more about knowledge and not feeling guilty about having knowledge. At least that's my perception. You guys can have different ideas and different thoughts. And please think about this, ruminate on this as much as you can. And if you want to share your thoughts, please do that. I'd love to hear what you think. Hmm. Okay, so this is the little thought about the lover's card. And here we are. This is the spread I created, and this is inspired by the lover's card itself. So let's have a look. So this is the lover's card in the background. As you can see, this I've sort of blown up the image a little bit, and this spread has. So here you go. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling one card for each element within the card image. So we have a card for the sun, card for Adam, card for Eve, for the angel, for that cloud or choice, their connection, the mountain, the blessing for Adam, the blessing for Eve, the tree of knowledge, the snake, then the tree of life, and the fire. So there you go. This is what, let me also, there you go. All right. So this is the spread, right? The sun represents the potential of the relationship. Adam and Eve represent the two people in the relationship. Now, again, I know there is a man and a woman in the picture, but we are, I don't want this spread to be sort of caught up with the gender rules and stuff. So you can, change that if you like. Then you have the angel, who represents the message from the divine, the cloud or the choice that represents the origins of the message or the choices. See, this card, this spread actually is for relationships, but with a twist. If you are in a relationship, then you can use this spread to understand your relationship better. Excuse me. You can use this to understand your relationship better. If you're not in a relationship, you can use this to understand your inner masculine feminine better, right? Where you can, place cards for masculine and feminine in the spread. um, if you're single and you're looking for a relationship, then the card or the side that represents the opposite gender that you're looking for, that could tell you, who your next partner will be and what he or she will be like. Um, and if you have gone through a breakup and you want to understand what it's about, then this spread will also tell you more. So this has sort of multiple uses and purposes. It depends on the intention that you have in your heart while you are pulling this particular spread. So the spread can be used in multiple ways to understand the dynamics of a relationship. Okay, so yeah, the mountain. Coming back to what these cards stand for, the mountain is the journey of discovery between these two. The blessings and the tree of knowledge is all about wisdom. The snake is the confusion or complication. Tree of life behind the man is all about which stage of life you're in, and the fire is the source of passion. So if you want, right now we can totally do the spread. And do you want to do the spread? Hang on one second.
I do.
Oh, okay. You're here. I thought I thought you
I
disappeared.
I Can you show me the spread, and I will do it on my side
Okay.
in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna actually I want to move then to the new next slide. I'll come back to this slide in a little bit. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna promote myself a little bit here. I have this PDF reference guide called the Tarot Keywords Reference Guide up on my website, where I talk about where I have all the meanings of all the symbols, the contextual keywords, the quote card personality traits, and numerological associations for the Rider Waite Smith deck. You can go ahead and buy that from my website if you want to, and it's basically a lot of information, one card, a big table. There are free pages that you can download and see for yourself the kind of information that is in there, and check out for yourself. And if you like, you can totally buy it. And oh yeah, I'm planning this short and sweet web course where I talk about the importance of having a context within a reading, and how you can interpret the card meanings within different contexts. So this is going to be literally a 1 day thing for 2 hours. The teaching part or the presentation part will probably be like 35 to 45 minutes, and the rest of it is practice, practice, practice. And uh, there'll be a handout, there'll be a video recording of the class, and the fee is only $51. You can use PayPal or Zelle. And this I'm planning this to be on or around the 4th of March 2021, so you have plenty of time to plan for this. uh Thank you. Okay, so hang on 1 second, let me go back to the spread page. And yeah, so that is the workshop I'm planning to have. So in case you guys are interested, please reach out to me and let me know, and we will figure it out. Let me Oh my, I did a lot of animation stuff, didn't I? Okay. So now I'm already in a relationship, so I'm going to use this spread to sort of understand or figure out the dynamics of our relationship. I don't know what's going to show up. Uh, but let's see. All right. So I'm just going to keep this up on the screen so you can also look at it. And I'm going to pull my spread. Hi, so I decided I'm going to show you the spread that I pulled. And instead of doing a relationship spread on my own relationship, which I ideally want to keep a little private, let's take a fictional relationship. So I'm going to do this particular spread using my Universal Weight Pocket Edition card so that it fits over here. And we're going to do, which relationship should we take? Fictional relationship. Oh, let's take one of my favorites. One of my favorites. We have, has everybody read Pride and Prejudice? Hasn't everybody read Pride and Prejudice? So the relationship between Elizabeth and Darcy, Mr. Darcy, all right? So Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. How's that? All right, so let me just quickly shuffle the cards. All right. So the Lovers card, relationship spread, for Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. So we are going to pull a card for Elizabeth, one that is in the place of Eve, so it's this side, And for Adam, the male will be on this side. That will be Mr. Darcy, and then the other card, as per the spread. So, all right. Elizabeth, Mr. Darcy, Sun, then the angel, right? And then the cloud from there for the angel. I hope it all fits. Don't worry, I'll make sure it fits. And then their connection, and then the mountain, and then the tree of knowledge, the snake, the tree of life, the fire, and the blessing from the angel for Elizabeth, and the blessing from the angel for Mr. All right. So, again, I know the image of the spread didn't specify which card to pull first and so forth. So I'm just following the natural sort of, following the image, to be honest, the natural progression of symbols and stuff in the image itself. So that's what I'm following. Mountain, connection, and just to save space, I'm gonna overlap these cards a little bit because space is finite on the reading table anyhow, for the space, sake of the video anyhow. I hope it covers all the cards. All right, so let's open the cards one by one. So I'm going to start with Adam and Eve. So Elizabeth, Two of Swords reversed. So in this relationship, she doesn't have much of a choice, although the Two of Swords is implying that on some level she felt that she had to choose, or that the choice was in her hands, but ultimately when she fell in love with him, she didn't have much of a choice. When she realized, right? If you've read Pride and Prejudice, she realizes that, hey, this guy isn't, what I thought he was. And then she realizes that she's in love with him too. So, and then Mr. Darcy here, there you go, star reversed. He walks in having not really many hopes or expectations really from the people that he's expecting to meet in that little town or village, and he's gonna be taken by surprise. So he's given up really on people much for the most part, because he hasn't ever met a woman who is just right according to him, and then he's taken by surprise by her. So the potential of their relationship, the sun, right? And that is Two of Wands. So they both need to that explore this is the card of Two of Wands is the card of exploring the potential. They both needed to open up their minds and to sort of figure out that, hey, let's look beyond our prejudices, look beyond our pride, our sense of pride, and discover what love is all about. And then you have the angel. So this is the message from the divine there. Look, Knight of Wands, right? This is the message of passion. This is the message of, seizing the moment, to be honest. That's what the Knight of Wands is all about. He seizes the moment and he just goes on this mad adventure. So seize the moment. Then the cloud, which is the origins of the message, and the choices also, kind of both. Let's see what this card is all about. There you go, Tower reversed. Right? If you're looking at it as a cloud, the origin of the message, then there are long held ideas about each other, about the world. Everything is going to be shaken up as the story unfolds, and we can see that in the Tower reverse. It's just said they don't really fall into deeper trouble, right? Because Darcy saves the day and so on. But yes, their whole ideas, their world is about to be shaken up and shaken up some more, but very managed and controlled manner. And then if you're looking at it as choices, then the Tower Reverse says that, in order to manage all the crazy troubles, things she needs to make a few decisions which are not really in her hands, though. you know that story had an element of not having she had not having really much power, much agency. Still, as a character, she did try to take as much agency as she could in her hands. That was for the time that the character was written for. All right, then we have the connection between these two. There you go. Nine of Swords, right? Anxiety, worries, not really knowing how this will all pan out on various levels, but time will, resolve everything, figure it out. And then the Mountain, which is the journey of discovery for both of them. And there you have it, the Seven of Swords reversed. They will have to stop telling themselves the story, or stop deluding themselves. She needs to learn about Wickham, and about the lies that he is perpetuating, and he needs to discover that his prejudices are not necessarily true. Right. Okay, so they're blessings from the angel, which is this guy sees the day. Right. For her devil, oh boy, she needs her blessing is to get married, I suppose. I mean, I know this is my personal viewpoint of the devil card. It does represent being, put in a sort of a contractual obligation, or a marriage, or a bond of some kind, a legal bond. On that level, that devil card is appropriate. That's how I see the things. I'm not necessarily saying that that's how marriage is perceived by many people. I see it that way, though. It is a tricky little bond, right? And it is also she's gonna be, that's her blessing. She's gonna find herself caught in a very tricky situation. If I just look at the traditional meaning of the card, she's going to find herself caught in this tricky little situation, and she needs to figure it out, even all the craziness of Wickham as well. And for him, his logic is going to be turned upside down. That's his blessing. All his logically you cannot understand or analyze relationships are felt from the heart, and his logic is going to be turned upside down. That's his blessing. Okay, so the Tree of Knowledge. Now, these four cards, the Tree of Knowledge, the Snake, the Tree of Life, and the Fire. Although it looks like it is for these individuals, it's not. It's for the entire relationship. Okay. So what they will learn, here you go, Moon reverse. They will have to learn to overcome their instincts and their fears, and to come out wiser on the other side. And that Snake there, which is the confusion, the complication, is this Six of Swords, this transition that they will both need to make, in terms of, or the acceptance also of each other's faults and follies, and then move past it, move forward. And that is also the complication that will happen. And that Tree of Life, right, which is all about which aspect of life or phase of life is going to get sort of stirred up. And we have Nine of Cups. Although it is a card of contentment, it also evokes that stage of life where you feel everything is fine, but then is it though? Right? Re-examining your values regarding what's okay, what's nice, what's your definition of contentment. And then that Fire, which is the source of passion. You have the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So things, his steady life, everybody's steady, stable, dependable life is going to be overturned. Things are going to suddenly just move and happen. So This is intriguing. This is very interesting. This is the lovers card spread for Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. So this is a fictional sort of set of characters there, but it's interesting. It's pretty interesting, and this is how that spread is sort of laid out and interpreted. So what do you guys think? Is this fun? Is this something you could do for your relationship? Now, again, like I said, this is about a fictional relationship, but nevertheless, there's a relationship. But let's say you're single, right? Let's say you're a guy, you're single. Then you could, just say, okay, I want to see how my potential, spouse or how my next relationship will look like, and then the cards that you pull on the side will depict, and the drama there will be shown. Or if you are single and you want to remain single, right, and you're like, okay, but I want to see my connection with my own self, my inner self, then you can lay this out and you can choose whichever side you feel more, how do you say, you feel more aligned with. Like if you feel like, okay, I'm a more feminine person, then you can be here. If I'm a more masculine person, you can be here. And then this is the other side, the opposite side. So, this is just a spread that has multiple uses. You can use it to analyze your existing relationship. You can even use it to analyze your past relationships. You can use it to analyze any. It doesn't have to be a lover type relationship. It can be any friendship, deep relationship. Excuse me. Or you can use it to analyze your future upcoming relationships. You can use it to analyze your own relationship with yourself, because in the lovers card, what I for a while, that card has had a very interesting development for me. I've always seen it, some for a very long time I saw the male and the female as counterparts of each other, the Adam and the Eve as counterparts for each other. They were my inner male and female sides that were trying to sort of, love each other, right? So you can analyze it that way as well. So this spread has multiple sort of applications, no matter which stage of a relationship you may be in. So I would love it if you guys tried this spread at home and saw what insights you gained out of this. And this is not a spread that, okay, I mean, I did sit here and quickly analyze it, but you can take a picture of the spread and you can sort of sit with it for a few days, few hours. Sometimes spreads, just boom, have that revelation moment, sometimes months down the line. But you can have that, on you if you just take a picture of the spread and keep it with you. So just saying, just giving you a few ideas. So try the spread and let me know how it works out for you, and what you thought of it and how it made sense to you and so forth. Give me your thoughts, give me your ideas. And also, by the way, if you have any ideas for improving this spread, if you have any ideas for making this a little bit better or tweaking it so that it makes a little bit more sense, perhaps, by all means do it. And share your thoughts in the comment section below. This is always going to be like a work in progress. So, all your feedback is welcome. And yep. So, the webinar really went well. It did throw some really interesting insights. Um, and I guess you know about the course that I'm planning to do. You also know about the uh, and I'll be announcing another webinar pretty soon. So I do all these announcements for my webinars on my Instagram channel and on my Facebook group. So please follow me there so that you remain updated and you don't miss out on when the next upcoming webinar is gonna happen, and so you guys can also attend and participate. I want to see more people show up. So it'll be it's more fun, right? Tarot is more fun when we sit as a group and sort of pull the cards together. So go on and, and join up, right? Just and or sign up to my newsletter. I also send out upcoming webinar notices, information, and whatnot in my newsletter. So please, if you've already signed up, then keep a lookout for the next one. Okay, so all right, I guess that I'll sign off now, and I will talk to you in my next video. Until then, as always, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where I post my card a day readings every day. You can also order a reading for yourself, or you can learn how to read tarot from me, of course. All of these links are in the description, so check that out. I will see you again in my next video. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.